Our new home was finally completed. I was so excited that our new life was about to begin. Then, my in-laws suddenly arrived. "We are going to live here from today, so you have to get rid of your parents." What? I didn't understand what was going on, so I asked my husband for help. But he took a deep breath and said to me,
"That's how it is. So you need to tell your mom and dad."
With that, they began to move their things into our house. My in-laws were happy and excited to see the inside of the house. Then, I coldly told them, "Do you know whose house this is? My name is Rebecca. I'm a 35-year-old office worker. My husband Tom and I have been married for 3 years. We have no children yet, but we are still happily married. However, my parents are getting older, and their legs and back are getting worse, and that worries me. So I decided to talk to my husband about the possibility of living with my parents." Then, my husband said,
"I don't have a problem living with your parents.
he told me,
It will be good for you and your parents. It kills two birds with one stone."
"Thank you, Tom. I am so glad that I married a kind-hearted husband." We were ready to move in with my parents. However, it was difficult to move in together right away. My parents live in the suburbs, far from the city center, and it would be very difficult for both my husband and I to go to work there. Neither of us is allowed to drive to work, and it would be difficult to live with my parents. But it is also not practical to invite my parents here. My husband and I currently live in a rented apartment. This apartment is for 2 people, so it is too small for 4 adults. If we were to have a child, it would be even smaller. There are only disadvantages for both parties, so I came up with an idea. "Hey, why don't we take the plunge and build a new, spacious house?" My husband's eyes lit up when I gently suggested it.
"I like that idea. Let's build a new house where everyone can live comfortably."
My husband agreed, and we immediately started preparing to build a house. When I told my parents about this, they felt bad about it. But when I told them that we were building a house with our future in mind, like when we have children, they agreed. It warmed my heart to see my parents apologetic but happy. After that, my husband and I went to a real estate agent and discussed everything in detail. Considering my parents, it would be nice to be close to a hospital, and considering my job, it would be nice to be close to a train station. We discussed in detail whether the house would be elderly compatible, how many floors it should be, and how large the house would be. I wanted to ask my parents for their opinions, but they said they would be happy just to live with us, so they left it to me. Instead, my husband made a lot of suggestions and was very proactive, which was very helpful. Every time we came to an agreement, I was excited to think that we were getting closer to our dream home. After consulting the internet and real estate agencies, as well as discussions with my husband, we were finally ready to build a new house, so we decided to hire a contractor to help us. Finally, we are all set to build a house.
Building a house is really hard work, isn't it?
And because we were working, we can only discuss things a little at a time. We were exhausted from all the preparations, but we were still very happy. We had a lot of discussions, and the layout of the house was perfect for us. It took a lot of effort to get to this point, with lots of inquiries to real estate agencies and information gathered on the internet. But now, all we have to do is wait for the house to be completed. Although there was still a long way to go, we were still excited and looking forward to it every day. But then, my in-laws found out that we were building a house, and they started contacting me all the time. "Rebecca, we came to visit. I heard that you are building a house." "Yes, that's right. I think it will be done by the end of the year." "That's amazing. I'm so glad Tommy's doing so well. Why don't you come by sometime and we'll talk about it in more detail? What? Okay. My husband and I made a weekend trip to their home when my mother-in-law called. When we arrived, they greeted us with big smiles on their faces.
Congratulations on the purchase of your own home. Isn't it exciting to build a house?
My father-in-law said to us, looking as happy as if it were his own. Yes, I'm really looking forward to it.
I want to make sure that everything is done to perfection. But I also want to hurry up because I want to live in it as soon as possible. So my mind is very busy.
We were excited all the time by this cheerful topic. Oh, I want to see the floor plan. My mother-in-law said so, and my husband showed her the floor plan he had been taking pictures of on his phone. Whoa, this is a very spacious house.
There is a lot of room for wrestling.
That's because we will be living with my parents for a long time, so we will need this many rooms. Living with your parents? My in-laws looked at my husband with wide eyes. You're moving in with Rebecca's parents?
Yes, that's right. Rebecca's parents have been having some problems with their legs and hips lately. That's why we decided to move in together. That's why we bought a house.
I see.
All right then.
The tone of my mother-in-law and father-in-law's voice suddenly lowers. Well, I suddenly get why my in-laws wouldn't be thrilled about this. I decided to change the subject, so we don't have to talk about this anymore. How are you guys doing these days? Are you feeling okay? Well, we're not really feeling any different.
That's right.
Same old routine, I see. Well, let's talk about your new house. I wonder which room your parents will occupy.
Oh, we're thinking about this room.
My husband didn't seem to notice the change in my in-laws' attitude. But when my in-laws found out that my parents were moving in with us, they didn't seem amused. I guess they didn't agree that my parents were taking priority over them. I felt bad for them. But I still thought that since I had built the house with my parents in mind, they should consider my wishes. However, it seems that my in-laws were not that mature. After that, the construction of the house proceeded smoothly, and every time I went to check on the house, it was taking shape more and more, and I was crossed that my husband was right and I want to live here as soon as possible. But I also wanted to make sure that it was built properly. I went with my parents to see the house on construction, and they both seemed very happy, and I'm very happy to have been able to show my filial piety in this way. But there was one thing that bothered me a little. My husband has been in touch with his parents a lot lately. On weekends, he has been visiting his parents more and more often. Are you going to visit your mother and father again this week?
Yes, I am.
You have been going more often since the beginning of this year.
I have to take care of my parents, right? That's why I'm visiting them on my days off.
That's very kind of you. Do you want me to go with you? To be honest, I was worried that my in-laws might be depressed. I know they will be sad that they won't be the ones living with us. So I thought I would help out with the aftercare as well, to show my filial piety to my in-laws. But my husband said,
No, it's okay. I'm fine on my own.
And went off on his own. I thought it was fine if he said so, but I told him that I'm here if he ever needed me. Time went by and our house was completed. When the day came for us to move in, my husband and I got into the car with all our belongings and head for our new house with great excitement. When we arrived at our new house and saw the exterior, we were impressed. I couldn't help but let out an uncontrollable wow at the sight of our new home. Our new home was finally completed. I was so excited to know that our new life was about to begin. When we have kids, I'm sure I will be cooking while watching my husband and kids play in the yard. It would be nice to have a barbecue with everyone. Imagining our life in our new home made me even more excited. My parents had just gotten stuck in traffic, and it was taking them a while to get here. They told me I could go ahead and go in the house, but I told them I would wait for them and try to tell my husband about it. Then, suddenly my in-laws came. I was so surprised that I stared at the car they drove here in. Why are they here? Then they got out of the car and came to me with big smiles on their faces.
We are here. What an amazing house.
This is a home that you can brag to your friends about.
Isn't it great? It's all thanks to Rebecca having great taste. I see. You really do have good taste, Rebecca.
Yes, I agree. Thank you. Then, my in-laws started to upload luggage from the car. I was so surprised that I rushed to talk to them. Hey, what are you doing? Why are you uploading that? When I asked them why they were doing that, they started to say something surprising.
It's to put our belongings into the house, of course.
Excuse me? We are going to live here from today, so get rid of your parents. What are you talking about? My mother-in-law sighed and said, Normally, a wife is supposed to serve her husband's parents, so we should live in this new house. What?
Now go call your parents. We are busy moving our stuff in.
I didn't understand and asked my husband for help, but he sighed and said to me,
That's how it is. So you need to tell your mom and dad.
What are you talking about? This house was built for us to live with my parents. I can't allow you to do this. I got a little emotional and told him so, and he got frustrated and got angry with me.
You heard what my mom said. A wife is supposed to serve her husband's family. We can think about your parents again in the future.
I can't believe him. It seems that my husband has been brainwashed by his parents. No, maybe he was like them in the first place, and he's finally showing his true colors. Come on, you two. Get your stuff out of here. That's what my mother-in-law said, and they started to carry out my belongings. My parents and I haven't even entered the house yet. They just went in without permission. Whoa, this is so nice.
The house is magnificent.
As they looked around the house with gleeful expressions on their faces, I said to them coldly, Do you know whose house this is? Amanda paused at my comment and looked at me. It's Tom's, of course. I hope you're not going to say that this is your home as a couple. I won't allow you to talk as if you have a right to it, when Tom is supporting you and has built you such a magnificent house. My in-laws accused me before I had a chance to explain myself properly. Apparently, my husband has not explained our financial situation to them.
Tom built the house in the first place, so how can he just knock it down and let his wife's parents move in?
I know, it's a bit of a crazy story at that point. I feel sorry for Tom. I couldn't take it anymore. I don't know why I had to go through all this while being misunderstood. I see. If you insist on living in this house, then I will have to ask Tom to return the money I paid to buy this house. When I said that, my in-laws looked at me with quizzical eyes.
How much money did you pay for this house?
Probably chump change, right? $100? My in-laws laughed at that. But my husband kept quiet. His face paled. I looked him straight in the eye and said, Are you proud of yourself to come all this way and not tell the truth?
No.
My husband became confused when I said that to him. What are you trying to say? My mother-in-law asks me. My husband didn't seem to want to tell them himself, so I had to explain to them. I bought this house with all of my savings, so if you want to live here, please pay me the $500,000 it cost to buy this house. When I said this, their eyes widened. Then they looked at my husband to confirm the truth.
Tom, is it true?
Did your wife Rebecca really buy this house? When questioned by his parents, my husband nodded quietly, as if he had given up.
Rebecca bought this house. Rebecca is already the head of the department at her company, so her salary is much better than mine.
Oh no, but you've been with the company a long time.
Yeah, and you've got a good college education. You get paid well, don't you? No, actually, I've made some pretty big mistakes at work. I'm not moving up the ladder at all, and I'm taking a pay cut because of it. Now I'm making less than a new graduate salary.
When my husband confessed to everything, his parents were horrified. Oh my God, Tom! Then, in a complete change from their earlier attitude, my in-laws began to plead with me. Rebecca, I'm sorry for the terrible things I said to you earlier. We were wrong.
I apologize, and please forgive us, and let us live in this house.
Huh? That's what my in-laws said, and they even got down on their knees and begged me.
Please, it's my fault for not telling my parents. Please allow them to live with us.
I was beyond angry and disgusted. I can't allow you to do that, no matter how much you say. I told you I bought this house to live with my parents. If I can't live with my parents, there is no need to buy a house. That's why I'm asking you to pay $500,000 if you want to live here. We don't have that kind of money. Then I will have to ask you to leave.
Well, wait. We've already sold our house. If you kick us out of here, we have nowhere to go.
Please, Rebecca, let us stay here. Your parents can stay with us if they want. What are these people talking about? Where else would a couple and their parents all live under one roof? It's impossible. Give it up. If you sold the house, you have some money. Why don't you rent an apartment with it? I said coldly, and my parents-in-law suddenly began to shed tears.
To tell you the truth, we have recently made a mistake with our investments, and we're in debt. I sold the house and used the money from my retirement to pay off the debt, and now I'm penniless. I'm well past retirement age, and my wife has been a stay-at-home mom all her life, so she can work now. So you're the only one we can count on.
They are trying to make this sound like a sob story, but I think it's simply their own fault. If you're going to depend on me, depend on your son. I have no obligation to support a stranger.
But we are your in-laws.
That's right. Why won't you help us? I'm sorry, but I can't stay married any longer to someone who tries to take over the house by force like this. I will be divorcing Tom.
What? Hey, wait a minute, Rebecca. Don't tell me you're divorcing me.
No, I can't do this anymore. I want you out of this house right now. When I said divorce, he began to panic, and my in-laws tried to stay, begging me again. But I will not tolerate them anymore. I told them I would call the police if they stayed, and they freaked out and ran away. My husband was very calm and said,
I'm still your husband, so I have the right to stay here.
But when I told him, if you stay, I will file a lawsuit and kick you out, he turned pale and left immediately with his belongings. If his workplace found out that I was taking him to court, my husband would be fired. My husband knew that, so he left in a hurry. After they left, my parents came to replace them. They were surprised that my husband was not there, but when I told them what had happened, they were very surprised. They thanked me for protecting them. I wish my husband had me more understanding, but I guess that's just the way it is. I'm glad I got rid of those selfish people before we had kids. After that, the divorce was finalized, and I was on my own. I'm now living a comfortable life with my parents in a newly built house.